have a look.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tokimaru and I'm here to have a look at Vampire's Best Friend. This is a self-described 2D retro precision batformer, which is a term I'll explain once we get into the game. However, let's start by not necessarily looking at the options menu first, but appreciating the art on this title screen. I am a huge fan of 2D pixel art games, and especially ones that actually try to go for a CRT filter aesthetic that somewhat accurately represents what it was like to to play a game on a CRT screen. I do think that the way this one works is a little bit strong. It does a good job at emulating the sort of color bleed that CRT screens ended up producing. I feel like what ends up happening with the one that they're using for this game, though, is that it makes a lot of the horizontal lines feel a little bit way too wobbly. And what ends up happening is, especially with the smaller with smaller text, it can be difficult to read. It's a little bit difficult to read this main menu, especially with the darker colors. Let me jump into the options menu. I'm going to start by turning off the CRT filter and taking a look at things. It's a lot more readable. I do really like the aesthetic of the CRT filter, but it can be really difficult to look at with the one that they're using for this game, though I do highly appreciate the effort that they put into that. As you can see, we have full screen on or off. We have screen scale, which does nothing for us while we are at full screen. But because this is a pixel art game, it adjusts the size of the screen it scales the pixels properly, which is very good for a game like this. We have 2 volume sliders. I would prefer if it was more of a slider than a selector for the granularity of it, but this is okay as it is. And a timer on or off for you speedrunners in the audience. And that is everything that they have here. I can't say there is that much that should be added, other than rebinding keys. However, this game does only use 3 buttons. It controls with 2 buttons, and then it has a button to pause. But other than that, I don't think there's much that needs to be added to this options menu. So, like I said, this game is a precision batformer. And what do you mean by batformer? Well, it's not necessarily a platformer. It's not a game where you're running around and jumping and relying on... I was gonna say relying on gravity, but this game actually does rely on gravity a lot. It's much closer to a lunar lander type game, sort of a reverse lunar lander type game. You are playing as a bat who can flap their wings left or flap their wings right. And if you look at the bottom of the screen, we have a bar that determines how long we can flap for before we die. And your job is to, before that runs out, touch a horizontal surface and cling to the roof. Like I said, it's like a reverse lunar lander where instead of trying to land carefully on the bottom of the screen, you're trying to move yourself from place to place and land on the top of the screen. That's what they mean by batformer. You're playing as a bat and trying to roost where a bat would roost. Now, this is basically an open world game where your job is to, take a look at the number there, collect 40 pieces of garlic in order to save your vampire companion. And when I say open world, I do mean open world. From the beginning, you can access every single part of the map. It's not a Metroidvania. The only thing that you're limited by is your skill and ability to fly from place to place without dying. Let me try and get to another screen for you. There we go. Music in this game, very good. I really adore the retro graphic style. They've done a good job emulating the limited color palette of sort of early NES games. Ooh. Listen to that soundtrack. Actually, let me take a second to let you listen to this. very, very good. And there are many different screens where the music changes depending on where you are, because there are a couple of different aesthetic areas in this game. Now, let me try and get to a screen where I haven't collected the garlic yet. If you look at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen, we have a mini-map showing you every single area on the map. The gray spaces are places I've never been to. The white spaces are screens that I have been to. And the white spaces with purple dots in the center are screens where there is a garlic on the screen. Almost every single screen in this game has one garlic on it or an equivalent that you have to find, I believe. So looking at this, I've gotten 24 so far. I'm pretty sure there are more than 40 garlic in this game. If we looked at the coffin, you need 40 garlic to, I believe, unlock your vampire friend. I have about a little bit more than an hour and a half of playtime. That the speedrun timer says I've been playing for an hour and a half. I have a little bit more than that, so I'm not sure how accurate that is. But basically, the only thing you're doing in this game is going from screen to screen and collecting every single piece of garlic that you can. And they do a really good job. So let's navigate to the right here. Let me actually find another environment. They do a really good job having a wide variety of different environments. Ooh, this one looks really good. They do a really good job at actually, this is a bad screen for me to be on. There we go. Oh, shoot, come on. There we go. They do a really good job at having a variety of different kinds of environments, and in some areas they have, these screens are so bad for me to actually show off the game. Okay, let me find a better screen for this. Come on. Okay, get me maybe to the left here. I think there's a different environment over here. A lot of these, like I said, so it's a precision platformer. So there are a lot of these sort of extremely difficult, tight to get through spaces, and you have kind of a difficult moveset to work with. You have to contend with gravity in this game, and you sort of have a little bit of an arc in terms of your movements. You can flap your wings once, you can hold it to flap, but once you're flying in a certain direction, it can be hard to sort of stop and turn around and go straight up like when you need to here. But once you get the hang of how the controls work, it is extremely satisfying. I want to show off a different environment. There we go. So now that we're in a new environment, we have some new aesthetics. We have a couple of the same tiles, but we also have a completely new musical theme. And we have a new type of puzzle element. So here, this is also another puzzle element in the game. Some garlics are just on the screen. Some of them are hidden by these candles. So you have to get 2 candles. I'm not gonna do that right now, but I'm going to head to this screen. Ooh. I think they've done a really good job at differentiating. Oh, this is really bad. At creating a ton of different kinds of unique puzzles and challenges for you to go through. There aren't that many rooms where, oh, this is really bad. There aren't that many rooms where they necessarily repeat the same puzzle or same type of movement challenge. So that, like, for instance, in this screen down here, it's mostly navigating through these tight hallways with these hallways left and right with a lot of wind. But up here, it's sort of very carefully modulating the rate at which you press the flat button, depending on whether there is or isn't wind blowing you down. And I'm also going to take this moment to point out another way in which they conceal garlic. They have these sort of, if I can get this, again, this is a precision platformer game, or precision batformer. So the main draw of this game is the extreme difficulty of the challenges, but what's really cool, ooh, I'm trying to get to the next space. So I need to lock in for a moment. This is really tough. This is a really tough one. There, in the earlier screens, there's some difficult ones, but this is a really tough one. But this does illustrate my next point, which is that number one, this is a precision platformer game. Number two, it leans hard into the retro sort of NES gameplay style, where you have these extremely hard, unforgiving challenges. Well, not necessarily unforgiving in this sense, like you can see here. These extremely difficult challenges. Oh, come on! These extremely difficult challenges with hard to master controls. However, despite the difficulty, it is extremely forgiving. As you can see, you get a checkpoint every single time you land. It's not just per screen, it's whenever you land. I really need to get to this next part. It's whenever you land. So even though it can be frustrating at times to be going through the same challenge over and over, there we go. Oh! The fact that you have so much safety in terms of respawning between challenges makes it it makes it a lot of fun to sort of try and conquer these bite-sized challenges, because really every screen is its own challenge, and you can sort of pick up this game for a little bit, try and master one screen, and then put it down. You get a lot of these bite-sized challenges. It's really cool. I think this game would do really good on Switch. I don't believe it's on Switch. I think it's only on Steam and itch.io. But even though it is a difficult precision platformer and also intending to emulate the NES difficulty, it is very satisfying to get the hang of, and it's not as rage-inducing as you might think. Also, I'd like to explain what happened there. There are these garlic chips, so we have to collect 40 garlic, but some screens have multiple garlic chips on them that add up to one garlic that you can collect. So even though you might not even have to collect all of the garlic chips, you can maybe collect some, and if you can't get past a certain part, you can go to another screen, collect garlic chips there. But yeah, they do a really good job having so many different kinds of challenges. Like this, oh my god. Every screen is its own puzzle, every screen is its own challenge. Every area has a very fun and unique personality. And I adore the simplicity of this game's art style. They do a really good job. This is tough. Emulating the simple color palettes of the NES, while also having it look extremely aesthetically pleasing. This is a really bad one. I keep on mistiming this. That's so bad. Okay, you know what? We're gonna leave the screen. Well, yeah, very, very, very fun to try and master these challenges, despite being hyper difficult. It's very forgiving, which makes it a lot less rage-inducing than you might think at first glance. Even though I'm dying like 50 times in a row, it still feels fine because of how quickly you can get back into the game. You don't have to trudge back to your challenge. if there's a point in the middle of the screen where you do get a safe landing space, they're pretty generous with the checkpoints. There are some rooms where they go out of their way to not give you any checkpoints, but those rooms are markedly easier in terms of the amount of those rooms are markedly easier in the amount of skill that you need to get through the challenge without getting your checkpoint. But yeah, there's a huge variety of puzzles and difficulty in this game. The fact that I'm pretty sure you don't have to get every single garlic in every single room, probably. I might actually be wrong about that. I think it makes it enjoyable to people that... Oh god, this one's a toughie. I think it would make this game enjoyable to people who aren't even necessarily fans of precision platformers in the first place. But yeah, that's basically... Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, it's reversing gas. I don't like that. Let me get through this. But yeah, that's... Honestly, there's not much else to say about this game. It's a very simple game, but because of how skill intense... The skill intensity is what makes... Oh god, I'm never going to escape this room. The intensity of skill and the variety of different puzzles is what makes this game super interesting, despite its simplicity and the length of the game. Because I have 1:42. I have 1 minute 42. Sorry, 1 hour 42 minutes in this game, and I'm over halfway through, as you can see. So I can't expect it'll be that much longer until I 100% this game. So it is very short. However, it is only $9.99 or your regional equivalent on Steam and itch.io. I highly recommend it if you're a fan of retro games, if you're a fan of precision platformers, if you love these sort of little bite-sized puzzles and challenges that you can sort of pick up and put down whenever you want, if you like sort of speed running these types of games, if you like open world, non-traditional open world games, I think this game is for you. I highly recommend it. My name has been Tokimaru. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next time.